Chapter 1373. Di Baiming's jealousy. Yun Chujio didn't know the news of Di Baiming's arrival. Although Feng Ming and the other two knew, no one told her. It had to be said that Di Baiming was very prescient in this aspect. Before he took Yun Chujio down, he had already taken down everyone around her. If there was any news, it would reach Di Baiming's ears. At this moment, Yun Chujio was drinking tea with Lan Luoqin in the courtyard. There were 2 plates of pastries on the stone table. They were sent over by Lan Ruoqin from the far north. Lan Ruoqin frowned slightly. Someone was here? After a while, Yun Chujio also noticed it. She was very puzzled. Why did she feel that there were many people coming over? She hadn't done anything bad recently. Would anyone come to settle the score with her? Yun Chujio, come out and welcome me. Your Majesty is here. A teacher's voice sounded from outside the courtyard. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up and she ran towards the courtyard entrance. When she opened the courtyard door, she saw Di Baiming staring at her with his dead fish eyes. This fellow suddenly felt a little guilty. Pooey, what am I guilty of? I haven't done anything wrong to the gigolo. After this fellow finished his mental preparation, he said with a smile, Brother Baiming, did my aunt ask you to send me something again? Di Baiming nodded, then he said with a straight face, That's right, my mother also wants me to tell you a few words. She wants you to study at the Tianyuan Academy so that you can cultivate properly, not come to drink tea and chat. If you don't cultivate properly, then drop out. No one had expected Di Baiming to say such a thing. Furthermore, when they saw Lan Luoqin and the teapot and pastries on the stone table in the courtyard, they immediately understood what Di Baiming meant. It must be that the palace mistress knew that Yun Chujio and Lan Luoqin had a close relationship, so she could not stop them openly. She must have asked the honored guest to pass on the message. However, why would the palace mistress not want Yun Chujio to have a relationship with Lan Luoqin? Although Lan Luoqin's family background was not comparable to the Longevity Palace, but it was 1,000 times stronger than Yun Chujio's. Moreover, Lan Luoqin's appearance and spiritual power were both outstanding among people. The palace master's wife's objection was too unreasonable. Yun Chujio never thought that Di Baiming would say this. Of course, she understood that this was not the palace master's wife's intention. It must be the damn gigolo who was jealous. Damn it, aren't you being too jealous? You came all the way here just to make me lose face? Yun Chujio's little face sank. Brother Baiming, please tell my aunt that my tea and chatting did not delay my cultivation. Moreover, it's up to me whether I quit school or not. Even my aunt can't interfere with me. When Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio actually contradicted him in front of everyone, his aura became even colder. The people around Di Baiming could not help but shiver. Yun Chujio was in trouble. His Majesty was about to get angry. Yun Chujio, since you are so stubborn, then I can only follow my mother's orders and take you back to the Temple of Immortals. Di Baiming stared at Yun Chujio and said, Yun Chujio was so angry that her face was red. If you dare to take me away, I will hang myself in your Temple of Immortals. When Di Baiming heard Yun Chujio's words, he was even more furious. The black thing must have a good impression of that Lan Luoqin. Otherwise, she would not treat him like this. She must have mistaken Lan Luoqin for that mermaid. Thinking back to the time when she drew the portrait of that mermaid, she even talked about some he issues. It was simply infuriating. Chapter 1374. She had a fiancé when the atmosphere was tense. Lan Luoqin said calmly, Your Excellency, Yun Chujio and I are classmates. It shouldn't be inappropriate for us to drink tea after class and exchange our cultivation experiences, right? If Aunt Yi is dissatisfied, I'll ask my mother to explain it to her in person another day. Aunt Yi? Everyone, including Yun Chujio, was stunned. The wife of the palace lord was called Yi Jin's. Why did Lan Luoqin call her Aunt Yi? And he even asked his mother to pay a visit. Could it be that Lan Luoqin's mother knew the wife of the palace lord? Di Baiming understood the reason. It was only when he investigated Lan Luoqin this time that he found out that Lan Luoqin's mother was one of Di Linhan's 3 junior sisters, Chu Lingyun. Ever since the palace lord's wife and Di Linhan got married, The palace lord's wife had used all sorts of methods to make Di Linhan basically cut off all contact with his 3 junior sisters. They had not contacted each other for many years. If it wasn't for Di Baiming sending people to investigate the Lan family in detail, he really wouldn't have known about this relationship. Young Master Lan, little Gio is pure-hearted and doesn't know that people are evil. That's why my mother is very worried about her. She hopes that you will stay away from her in the future. Di Baiming had never been a person who gave people face. When he saw that Lan Ruochen had taken the initiative to send himself to his death, he naturally wouldn't be polite. Lan Luochen smiled faintly, then he looked at Di Baiming with a burning gaze. Although Aunt Yi is Yun Chujia's elder, she doesn't have the right to stop her from having a normal relationship with her classmates, right? Or do you really not want Yun Chujio to have a relationship with me? Di Baiming's eyebrows suddenly stood up. Such an obvious provocation could only mean one thing. Damn it, this Lan Luochen really had improper thoughts towards black things. Yun Chujio knew that something bad was going to happen. The pretty boy was so agitated he would definitely announce their relationship. Forget it, let's just say it. Although she was not too strong now, as long as she did not show off, it was not a problem to keep her little life. Di Baiming clenched his fists, almost blurting out his relationship with Yun Chujio. But when he thought of the Gui Yuan sect and Medicine Valley, once the news was announced, little Gio would definitely be in trouble again. The Yin family's matter had not been completely settled. If it caused the jealousy of Qin Mingzhu and Bailey Yen, the 2 idiots, little Gio's situation would be even more dangerous. Di Baiming thought of this. He looked at Lan Luochen coldly. Young Master Lan, no matter if it's my mother or me, I don't want little Gio to be too close to you. Because little Gio's elders have already arranged a marriage for her. So if she is too close to you, it will be very difficult for us to explain to her fiancé in the future. When everyone heard Di Baiming's words, they immediately exploded. What? Yun Chujio has a fiancé? Why haven't I heard of it before? We aren't familiar with her, so it's not strange that we don't know. No wonder your majesty is so angry. Since this Yun Chujio has a fiancé, she is indeed too intimate with that Lan Luochen. Yes, although we cultivators don't have so many restrictions, we still have to have basic etiquette. Since she has a fiancé, she shouldn't be too intimate with other men. I heard that Lan Luochen would come to Yun Chujia's dormitory every few days. That's right. This man and woman are always together. It's really hard to say. Yun Chujio was about to explode from anger when she heard everyone's discussion. However, she did not dare to refute Di Baiming. She knew that this was already Di Baiming's biggest concession, so she could only remain silent in anger. Pretty boy, just you wait. Wait until there's no one else. See how he'll deal with you. Chapter 1375 The vinegar jar becomes the essence. Lan Luochen saw that Yun Chujio did not speak and knew that what Di Baiming said should be true. He felt a wave of disappointment in his heart. If Di Baiming did not come today to break through this layer of window paper, he would not have felt his thoughts. He did not expect to be frozen to death by a basin of cold water as soon as it sprouted. Your Excellency, even if Yun Chujio has a fiancé, this does not affect the normal relationship between her and her classmates, right? Although Lan Luchen's heart was in turmoil, his face was still indifferent. Di Baiming said coldly, of course it won't affect her normal interactions, but isn't young Master Lan coming to Little Nine's courtyard a little too frequently? Moreover, since young Master Lan's purpose in coming to Tianyuan Academy has already been achieved, shouldn't he continue to return to the Heaven's Fate Academy to study? A trace of displeasure flashed in Lan Luchen's eyes. Your Excellency, it's my freedom to study where I want. Your control is a little too broad. Although the Temple of Immortals has a high status, our northernmost land is not the territory of your Temple of Immortals. Please be more polite. Young Master Lan, are you trying to provoke me by saying this? Although the Lan family can be considered as well known in the northernmost land, you are not qualified to challenge me. Di Baiming's aura became even colder. Even Dean Huangfu, who had a high level of spiritual power, felt a little uncomfortable. What was surprising was that Lan Luochen was not afraid at all. He sneered and said, everyone says that the Supreme Emperor is overbearing. The rumors are true. Just because I didn't do what you want to destroy our Lan family? How outrageous. Yun Chujio saw that the two of them were getting more and more aggressive. It was about to escalate to a fight between two major forces. She quickly came out to smooth things over. Brother Baiming, Lan Luochen, stop arguing. It's a big deal. You'll be more careful in the future. Brother Baiming, what good stuff did my aunt give me? Come in and give it to me. Coincidentally, I have something that I need you to bring back to my aunt. Lan Luochen, you should go back first. We will discuss the materialization of spiritual energy another day. Yun Chujio winked at Lan Luochen. Of course, Lan Luochen did not want to have a conflict with Di Baiming. Seeing that Yun Chujio gave him a way out, he said calmly, "All right, since that's the case, let's talk another day. Goodbye." After Lan Luochen finished speaking, he did not even look at Di Baiming. He squeezed through the crowd and left. Yun Chujio saw Di Baiming staring at her like a dead fish. He was like a wooden stake that was emitting cold air. She could only say, "Brother Baiming, come in." Di Baiming gritted his teeth and followed Yun Chujio into the courtyard. Then, he waved his hand and the courtyard door closed with a bang. He even activated the isolation array. Although the people outside were extremely curious, they could not see what was happening inside. Black Thing, you've really grown up. You actually dared to talk back to me for such a thing? And you even went to the Temple of Immortals to hang yourself? If you want to die, why don't you die now for me to see? Di Baiming was so angry that he smashed the stone table into pieces with one palm. Yun Chujio was also angry. She had been holding back her anger for a long time. However, she did not lose her temper just now because of the presence of others. Now that she heard Di Baiming say this, she immediately placed her hands on her waist and pointed at Di Baiming's nose to scold him. "Pretty boy, you still have the face to scold me? What is it that you don't know how to tell me properly? You even brought a large group of people here. Are you trying to catch me in the act? Didn't I just chat with Lan Luochen a few times? Do you have to be so jealous? You are so jealous." Chapter 1376. Get lost. When Di Baiming saw Yun Chujio say this, he became even angrier. "Black Thing, how dare you speak your mind? Did you just chat with that damn Lan Luochen a few times? Did my mother teach you the tea ceremony so that you could make tea for him? It's fine if you sold him the purple sunflower grass, but you still hang out with him all day. Could it be that you felt that he looked like that mermaid so you fell in love with him? Since when have I been hanging out with him? Aren't we just drinking tea and chatting? You're just narrow-minded, you're just jealous, you're just unreasonable." Yun Chujio felt very wronged. "I don't have any other thoughts. What right does a pretty boy have to malign me? I'm narrow-minded? If I was narrow-minded, I wouldn't have let you come to Tianyuan Academy. I should have locked you up in the Hall of Immortals. You're always fooling around. It wasn't easy for Xue Wuji to stop fooling around. You got me another Lan Luochen. Didn't he just give you some fruits and pastries? Are you that greedy? Am I lacking in your food or your clothes?" Di Baiming stomped on the plate of pastries on the ground and crushed it. "You're the one who's fucking greedy. Lan Luochen is more understanding and gentle than you. You're an overbearing and unreasonable bastard. Get lost." Yun Chujio was about to go crazy from anger. "I'm just a little greedy. Do you have to say that about me?" Di Baiming heard Yun Chujio praise Lan Luochen and belittle him. His face turned white from anger. "Good. Very good. Black Thing. You're really ruthless. Since you think so highly of him, you'll get lost. He'll never appear in front of you again." After Di Baiming finished speaking, he slammed his palm onto the courtyard gate. Not to mention the courtyard gate, even the isolation array was shattered by this palm strike. Some onlookers were looking outside the courtyard. They were blasted hundreds of feet away by the remaining force of Di Baiming's palm strike. Even Dean Huangfu and the other teachers with profound spiritual power were forced back a few steps. It could be seen how furious Di Baiming was. "Dean Huangfu, I still have something to do. Goodbye." Di Baiming said to Dean Huangfu with an ashen face. Dean Huangfu didn't dare to say anything and could only say, "Your Excellency, please take care." Di Baiming flicked his sleeves and left. In just a few breaths, he had disappeared without a trace. Dean Huangfu looked at the courtyard again. The stone table had already turned into stone powder. There was no need to mention the courtyard door. It had already turned into dregs. Fortunately, Yun Chujio was still intact. It must have been a quarrel between the two of them. This little 9 girl really knew how to be evil. She had actually angered the Exalted One to such an extent. Sigh, young people really know how to cause trouble. Dean Huangfu sighed and also left. The other teachers also dispersed. The surrounding students even ran away, afraid that Yun Chujio would vent her anger on them. Yun Chujio casually pointed at a student from the Huang class. Go and find a few odd job workers for me. Fix the courtyard door for me. That student went to fix the gate. Yun Chujio's words were absolutely useful in the Huang class. After a while, a few servants came to fix the gate. Yun Chujio was so angry that she paced back and forth in the yard. Damn it! Damn it! Damn that gigolo! He always played this trick on her. He always wanted to break up with her. Don't ever show your face to me. Damn to be you. Always jealous, damn it. Let's call it pickled fish. Chapter 1377. The miserable Feng Ming. Yun Chujio was so angry that she didn't even eat her dinner. After scolding the pretty boy thousands of times, she got up and started eating. Damn it, she couldn't punish herself with other people's mistakes. She should eat and drink. Damn it, how did the pretty boy know that Lan Luochen and I are close? Could it be that he has spies in Tianyuan Academy? It must be so. Damn it, if he knows who betrayed me, I will kill him. Feng Ming, who was wearing a bitter face, sneezed fiercely. Gang Shixian, you must save me. With junior sister Jio's intelligence, she will definitely guess that I betrayed her. She must torture me to death. Shixian smiled bitterly and said, You have already done it, why are you afraid that she will know? I am also doing it for junior sister Jio and your excellency, okay? Lan Luochen ran to junior sister Jio's dormitory for no reason. It was obvious that he had no good intentions. It was a boil that would come out sooner or later. I just moved the time forward, Feng Ming said righteously. Gang Yi pursed his lips and said, Since you are so righteous, why are you afraid that junior sister Jio will know? Although I think I did the right thing, junior sister Jio might not think so? You also know that junior sister Little 9 has a belly full of bad water. If I knew this, I would have no way to live. You guys quickly help me think of a way. Feng Ming was about to cry. Shixian thought for a moment and said, Although junior sister Little 9 is naughty, she won't go too far. You can go and beg for forgiveness tomorrow morning. Maybe you will suffer less. Otherwise, if she finds out, you will probably suffer. Feng Ming also knew that there was no other good way, so he could only agree with a bitter face. The next morning, Feng Ming came to the outside of Yun Chujio's courtyard. Little 9th junior sister, little 9th junior sister. Feng Ming called out carefully. Senior brother Feng Ming, what do you want from me? Yun Chujio didn't sleep well the whole night. She had just fallen asleep in the morning when Feng Ming woke her up. One could imagine how bad her face must be. Feng Ming immediately swallowed his words. I'd better come another time. Saying it now would be equivalent to courting death, so he said, Junior sister little Jio, I brought you breakfast. Feng Ming gave the breakfast that he had prepared for himself to Yun Chujio and then ran away as if he was flying. Yun Chujio looked at the breakfast in her hand and her heart warmed. Senior brother Feng Ming was probably worried that she had not eaten last night because of anger, so he brought her breakfast early in the morning. If she had known earlier, she would have treated him better just now. Feng Ming delivered breakfast for 3 days in a row. Finally, on the 4th day, he mustered up his courage and said, Junior sister little 9th, actually, I was the one who reported the secret to your esteemed self. I was also doing it for the two of you. That Lan Luochen clearly has no good intentions. Even if I didn't say it, your esteemed self would have found out sooner or later. Senior brother Feng Ming. Sigh, I originally thought that you and I would be closer than being close to a gigolo. I didn't expect that you would actually betray me. I'm really too sad. Yun Chujio actually guessed that Feng Ming was the snitch on the 2nd day. This guy was really mean. He deliberately didn't expose it, but it made Feng Ming's heart beat continuously. She felt that this kind of knife hanging above her head without falling down was even more torturous. Feng Ming saw that Yun Chujio revealed an extremely disappointed expression. He immediately panicked. Junior sister little Gio, I really did this for your own good. I promise that I will only do it once. Next time, even if your esteemed self uses a knife to force me, I will not betray you again. Chapter 1378. Palace Master Zhang's wife lecturing her son, forget it, it's just this once. Senior brother Feng Ming, if there's a next time, you know what I mean. Yun Chujio also knew that Feng Ming's intentions were good. Feng Ming did not expect to pass so easily. His heart that had been in suspense for several days finally relaxed. On the other side, the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals were considered to be unlucky. After Di Baiming returned to the Temple of Immortals, he began the Hell Devil training. Even an Yin could not stand it anymore. The palace mistress also heard the news, so she called Di Baiming over. When the palace mistress saw Di Baiming's appearance, she knew that something must have happened. The cold air on Di Baiming's body could freeze people to death. Baiming, what's wrong with you? Nothing. You little brat, if you have something to say, just say it. Why are you always holding it in? Did you get into a fight with little Gio? The hall master's wife had a headache over Di Baiming's character of not saying anything at all. The hall master's wife was very surprised. She did not expect Di Baiming to really admit it, hence, she said, "What's going on? Tell mother." Mother is also a woman. Perhaps she can understand little Gio's thoughts. Mother will help you to analyze it. Di Baiming had not been able to eat or sleep well for the past few days. When he saw the hall master's wife asking, his eyes turned slightly red. He felt that he had not done anything wrong. Little Gio's actions were really too heartbreaking. After Di Baiming explained the matter briefly, the hall master's wife smashed the coffee table with a single slap. Damn it! Chu Lingyun, that slut, had fought with me for Ling Han when she was young. Now her son is fighting with my son for a wife. What a slut son. Your father even helped that bitch look for the purple sunflower grass. He thought I didn't know. I just didn't want to be calculative with a person who is about to die. I didn't expect that bitch's son actually wanted my daughter-in-law. This is really outrageous. The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched violently. If his mother had heard his father calling her a bitch, the two of them would probably bicker again. Baiming, although little Nine's actions were a little inappropriate, you also know that little Nine is naive and romantic. She doesn't have any female elders to teach her since she was young, so it's inevitable that she won't care about small details. She definitely didn't think of anything else. She's naturally wholeheartedly devoted to you. However, with you making such a big fuss and talking so excessively, of course the little girl can't take it. Moreover, if they were quarreling, why did you come back? You have to talk things out before you come back. Aren't you giving that Lan Luochen a chance? Silly son, don't do this next time. Hurry up and find a time to talk things out with little Nine. Girls need to be coaxed. You have to change this bad temper of yours. Otherwise, you will still have to quarrel with little Nine in the future. The palace master's wife advised him earnestly. Okay, I got it, Di Baiming said in a muffled voice. Actually, after his anger had subsided, he had calmed down and regretted it. However, when he heard Yun Chujio say that he could not control himself at all. Moreover, this time, it was Black Thing who had done something wrong. Why should he admit his mistake? He just did not admit his mistake. He did not believe that Black Thing would not come to find him. Di Baiming decided to have a cold war, so the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals continued to live in misery. Yin could only secretly send a message to Infeng. Infeng, quickly think of a way to make Ninth Miss and Your Excellency reconcile. Otherwise, our lives will be worse than death. Although Infeng was far away from the center of the storm, he was still quite loyal. Taking advantage of the opportunity that Yun Chujio came to deliver the talisman, he eagerly asked, "Ninth Miss, you are quarreling with Our Excellency?" Chapter 1379. The Taste of Love. Yun Chujio snorted coldly. How did you know? Did the gigolo tell you? And Feng heard this and even called the gigolo. This must be 100% awkward, he carefully said to Yun Chujio. Miss Jio, Your Excellency would never tell me these things. It's just that the secret guards of the Temple of Immortals have been living a more complicated life recently, and they have all come to me for help. Can you please forgive me and make up with our Excellency? Yun Chujio was secretly happy. And Feng was really good at talking. She nodded and said, All right, you secret guards have also helped me a lot. This time I will give you face. I will reluctantly forgive the gigolo. Miss Jio, then can you send a voice transmission talisman to our Excellency? Once our Excellency hears your voice, he will definitely be in a good mood. My brothers will also be saved, and Feng said flatteringly. Yun Chujio was amused. All right, I'll send it when I get back. Don't worry, I'll keep my word. And Feng was finally relieved. He sent someone to escort Yun Chujio back to the academy and immediately told An-een the news. An-een then felt that he had something to look forward to in life. After Yun Chujio returned to the dormitory, she took out the voice transmission talisman and went into a daze. In the past few days, she had also reflected on it. If she were to put herself in his shoes, she would also be furious if the gigolo would chat and drink tea with his female classmates whenever he was free. Therefore, it was not unforgivable for the gigolo to be angry. However, the gigolo would break off their relationship at any time. This bad habit was really detestable. She had to turn things around for him. Di Baiming was training the dark guards in a cold atmosphere. He felt the voice transmission talisman in his storage ring vibrate. When he took it out and saw that it was sent by Yun Chujio, his hand trembled slightly. Little Jio sent him a voice transmission talisman? Did she realize her mistake? Was she apologizing to him? Even if she apologized, I won't forgive her so easily. I won't even look at her voice transmission talisman. Di Baiming gritted his teeth and stuffed the voice transmission talisman back into his storage ring. He was prepared to ignore Yun Chujio's voice transmission talisman. However, in less than 10 breaths, he took out the voice transmission talisman again. This lord was magnanimous. There was no harm in listening to her apology. Male god, sigh, I know I was wrong. Di Baiming was very pleased when he heard this. The black thing was really here to apologize to him. Indeed, I shouldn't have been intimate with Lan Luochen. Although I have a clear conscience, I am someone who has a boyfriend after all, so I was wrong about this matter. When Di Baiming heard this, his mood was extremely good. He felt that the depressed mood he had for so many days had completely disappeared. But, you have already said that you will never appear in front of me again. I'm afraid that I won't have the chance to be with you again. My heart is broken. Prince Charming, my heart has already been broken into 108 pieces. I'm living a life worse than death right now. Just treat it as if I'm dead. Yun Chujio's voice was filled with tears at the end of her sentence. When Di Baiming heard it, his heart almost ached to death. He did not care about whether he could forgive or not. He quickly took out the voice transmission talisman and said, Little Jio, I said it in anger. I will come and see you in a few days. On the other side, Yun Chujio was sitting cross-legged on the bed. She was nervously staring at the voice transmission talisman. After seeing the voice transmission talisman tremble, she quickly sent her spiritual sense in. After hearing Di Baiming's words, her heart felt sweet, sour, and a little bitter. She couldn't help but cry. She touched her chest. Was this the taste of love? Chapter 1380. Little Jio likes me. Yun Chujio wiped her tears with her sleeve and said to the voice transmission talisman in a low voice, Yes. On the other side, Di Baiming was sweating profusely. When he heard the yes, the worry in his heart instantly turned into a soft feeling. An-een, go to the Tianyuan Academy with me immediately. An-een heaved a sigh of relief in his heart. Oh my God, the rain has finally passed and the sky is clear. Our revered lord was completely eaten up by Miss Jio. Previously, he was so angry that he looked like a dead man. Who would have thought that Miss Jio would use a voice transmission talisman? Our esteemed lord is so eager to go over. 3 days later, Di Baiming arrived at the Tianyuan Academy. This time, He directly activated the concealment talisman and did not alert anyone else. Yun Chujio was sitting on the recliner and muttering to the little black bird, "Xiaohei, do you think the gigolo has really forgiven me?" "Master, didn't the gigolo say that he came to see you? Then he has forgiven you." Sigh. "Actually, Lan Luochen is really a good person. I just treat him as an ordinary friend. The gigolo is too jealous." But I thought about it. If he and Qin Mingzhu or Bailey Yen also drink tea and chat from time to time, my heart would be burning with anger. So, I'd better not interact with him in the future. "Master, if you met Lan Luochen first and not the gigolo, which person would you choose?" Xiao Hanio stared at him with his bean-like eyes and asked curiously. Di Baiming, who was hiding in the dark, felt his heart stop beating. He clenched his fists and stared nervously at Yun Chujio. Anine was about to cry. Miss Gio, please don't give me any bad answers. Otherwise, we will continue to live in hell." No one expected Yun Chujio to giggle. "Xiaohei, your question is too lame. There are no assumptions. Love doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter who is good. Anyway, I now think that the gigolo is pretty good. Although he is a little arrogant and always leaves home for me, I still like him. Moreover, when I was the ugliest and most useless person, the gigolo actually fell in love with me at first sight. This means that the gigolo loves my inner self. How can I not like such a gigolo?" Di Baiming, who was hiding in the dark, was stunned when he heard Yun Chujio's words. Joy slowly spread from the bottom of his heart. There was only one voice in his mind. "Little Gio likes me, little Gio likes me." "Master, then you won't bother with Lan Luochen in the future? A gentleman's friendship is as light as water. I have to consider the gigolo's feelings. Otherwise, that Sundra will definitely smash the door again." Impuzzled. Other people lack metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, but does he lack a door? He just uses the door to vent his anger. That's enough. Lack of a door in the 5 elements? Anine almost laughed out loud. Di Baiming glared at Anine before coughing and revealing himself. Yun Chujio was stunned when she saw Di Baiming. Then she wailed, "Woo, damn gigolo, didn't you say that you would never see me again? Why are you still here? You bastard!" Di Baiming hugged Yun Chujio in his arms and said solemnly, "Black thing, I promise you that I will never say that I will never say that I will never see you again. Even if you use a rolling pin to chase me away, I will never leave you." Anine felt that his teeth were a little sore. Damn, this was too shocking. Our Lord could actually say such words. I can only say that Miss Gio is awesome. Chapter 1381. I'm going to skip a grade. H. You still want me to die in front of you? You still want me to be greedy? You still want me to be greedy? Oh, that damn gigolo. He just started to kiss each other whenever they didn't get along. Really, oh, I'm going to faint. Anine and Xiao Hanio took the initiative to fill a corner with mushrooms. They hated it when they started to kiss each other whenever they wanted. It was simply a sure-kill technique to torture a single dog. The two of them were kissing until the sky turned dark. There was a knock on the door from outside. "Yun Chujio, the house has sent over some golden tangerines. I've brought them for you." Di Baiming did not give Yun Chujio a chance to reply at all. He attacked even more ferociously. Yun Chujio was already in a daze from the kiss. How could she still have the time to reply to Lan Luochen? Lan Luochen repeated it a few times. When he saw that there was still no answer, he thought that perhaps Yun Chujio was not in the dormitory. He would come back tomorrow. Di Baiming felt that Lan Luochen had gone far away. So he let go of Yun Chujio and said, "Humph, he really doesn't want to give up. If I'm not here, would you have tea and chat with him again?" "Of course not. Since I know that you are not happy that I have a close relationship with him, I naturally have to keep a distance from him." Yun Chujio pouted. It's best if that's the case. If I find out that you don't keep your word, I will definitely tie you up and bring you back to the Temple of Immortals." "Prince Charming, don't worry. I always keep my word." Yun Chujio pursed her lips in her heart. "Brat, you still want to tie me up? Why don't you try tying me up? It'll kill you." Di Baiming nodded, but he was calculating in his heart. That damned Lan Luochen and little Jiao were deskmates. This won't do. I have to find Dean Huangfu and separate them. In case little Jiao's position wasn't firm and was fooled by that damned Lan Luochen again. Before Di Baiming left, he went to Dean Huangfu and told him his intentions. Dean Huangfu naturally agreed. This wasn't a big deal, as long as this fiend didn't lose his temper again. Hence, Yun Chujio was moved to the same table as Feng Ming. Lan Luochen naturally understood that this was Di Baiming's trick. He laughed coldly in his heart. He even said that Yun Chujio had a fiancée. It was obvious that Di Baiming didn't like him. The way he looked at Yun Chujio was clearly the gaze of a lover. Everyone had been deceived by him. So what if they were not deskmates? The distance between me and Yun Chujio is much closer than you. I don't believe that Yun Chujio would be such an overbearing and unreasonable bore. For the next period of time, Lan Luochen did not go to look for Yun Chujio. Usually, when they met, they would just nod and greet each other. Yun Chujio heaved a sigh of relief in her heart. This was the best. Otherwise, she really did not know how to reject him and look for her again. Recently, Yun Chujio had been thinking about something. This fellow wanted to skip a grade. If one wanted to complete the Tianyuan Academy's curriculum within 3 years, then one had to skip a grade in order to achieve it. Hence, this fellow hopped and went to look for Dean Huangfu. Dean, I want to skip a grade. There are conditions for skipping a grade. You have to be in the top 10 in this year's mid-year competition before you have the right to skip a grade. Dean Huangfu wasn't too surprised. After all, this fellow's leveling speed was too fast. It's that simple? Then I understand, Dean. Goodbye. Yun Chujio said and left again. Dean Huangfu was so angry that his nose was crooked. You left after asking? You really don't take me, a dignified dean, seriously. Besides, it's simple. Although your talent is indeed abnormal, I heard that you haven't learned the intermediate materialized spell yet. Moreover, the uncertainty of the competition is very high. Are you sure that you can enter the top 10? Chapter 1382 Earth-Penetrating Spiritual Mushroom. Soon, it was the day of the mid-year grand competition. Dean Huangfu carried out a routine mobilization before the grand competition. After he was done with the formalities, he went straight to the point. The location of this year's mid-year grand competition is the Misty Valley. Do you think that this is just an ordinary valley from the name? In reality, it isn't. The location of the Misty Valley isn't fixed every time, and it only appears for a month at a time. After you enter, you won't be able to leave midway. It's extremely dangerous inside, and there's a ban on flying and the use of talismans. If there are any students who want to give up, you can step forward now. Being eliminated is better than losing your life. After Dean Huangfu finished speaking, he looked around. Although many of the students had looks of unease on their faces, no one stepped forward. He continued, your mission this time is to collect the underground spiritual mushroom. This underground spiritual mushroom is extremely precious and can only be found in the Misty Valley. It is different from other spiritual mushrooms. You cannot see its tracks on the ground. You can only rely on your sharp observation skills to discover its location. Moreover, this kind of spiritual mushroom can move quickly underground, therefore it's very difficult to pick it. Your results will be determined by the number and quality of the underground spiritual mushrooms you pick. Yun Chujio found it quite interesting after hearing it. In the modern era, there was a kind of high-grade ingredient called truffle. It also grew underground and relied on a little pig with a sharp sense of smell to find it. She had even tried it once. It was really not easy to find one. In this year's mid-year competition, Deputy Dean Xiao was still leading the team. After everyone boarded the flying spirit tool, they set off to the place where they discovered the Misty Valley. 3 days later, the flying spirit tool arrived at the Misty Valley. There were already some cultivators gathered outside the Misty Valley. They were probably here to collect the earth-burrowing spirit mushroom. After all, this kind of spirit mushroom was very precious. Fortunately, the Misty Valley was very large. Once people entered, they basically scattered. Yun Chujio's heart stirred. The Yin family was probably going to make a move this time. This was a perfect opportunity for an ambush. Therefore, after entering the Misty Valley, Yun Chujio said to Feng Ming and the other two, "Senior brothers, let's split up." Although Feng Ming and the other two didn't understand, they were used to listening to Yun Chujio's arrangements. They could only nod and agree. Yun Chujio randomly picked a direction and hopped away. Yun Chujio dug as she walked, but she did not find the so-called underground spiritual mushroom. Where was this damn mushroom hidden? Could it be extinct? Yun Chujio complained as she walked deeper. The deeper she went, the more dense the fog became. Fortunately, Yun Chujio had the luminous pearl, so it was not too much of a problem. As the sky gradually darkened, the fog also grew larger. Yun Chujio's luminous pearl could only illuminate a range of 30 feet. Yun Chujio finally found a cave. Although it was dirty and full of animal remains, it was still safer than outside. Yun Chujio used the cleaning spell to clean up the debris in the cave, then lit a bonfire and spread a snow cashmere blanket on the ground. The temporary residence was finally completed. Yun Chujio had a simple dinner. After extinguishing the bonfire, she asked the three little ones to take turns to be on guard and fall asleep. While she was half asleep, Xiao Hei woke Yun Chujio up. Yun Chujio heard the sound of footsteps. Yun Chujio immediately jumped out of the cave silently. Taking advantage of the fog, she hid behind a mountain rock. She took off her spirit ring and carefully held her breath. Chapter 1383 was going to be a good show. Not long after, the sound of footsteps was getting closer and closer. Because of the fog, Yun Chujio could not see the person's clothes and appearance clearly. She could only see about a dozen people. Could they be from the Yin family? There's a cave here. This is great. We don't have to spend the night outside, someone said excitedly. That's right, ever since we entered the misty forest, we've been suffering. We can't see the sun all day long, and we're almost turning into mushrooms. It's a pity that not many people came to the misty forest this time to look for earth-burrowing spiritual mushrooms. I'm afraid it's impossible to catch some big fish. What you said isn't right. This time, not only can we catch a big fish, but we can also catch the biggest fish. The second-year students of Tianyuan Academy are all here, and there's the person we're looking for the most. We can use this opportunity to catch her. Are you talking about that smelly girl, Yun Chujio? That's right. Last time, Dharma Protector Tao only had time to send 2 words to Vice Palace Master Lu. Yun Chujio, Vice Palace Master Lu sent someone to investigate. It turns out that Yun Chujio is the daughter of the Palace Master's wife's old friend. The last time Dharma Protector Tao attacked the Temple of Immortals, that smelly girl was a guest at the Temple of Immortals. Dharma Protector Tao would not say her name for no reason. I reckon that our plan last time was ruined by her hands. This isn't possible, right? Isn't Yun Chujio just a teenage girl? How could she be so capable? Dharma Protector Tao might be trying to convey something else. No matter what, let's capture her first. Even if she didn't do it, it's not a bad idea to use her to blackmail the Temple of Immortals. There are also other people. Capture them alive if they are useful. Kill those who are not. Yun Chujio was shocked. They were not from the Yin family? They were from the Netherworld Palace? They had sneaked into the misty forest to kill them? With just a dozen of them? Was there something wrong with them? At this moment, those people had already started a bonfire and were chatting while eating. Boss, we can't let the other teams get ahead of us. If we can capture that brat Yun Chujio, that would be a great achievement. You're right. Everyone rest well. We'll start the operation tomorrow. Yun Chujio suddenly realized that there were other people. As she said, these dozen people were simply overestimating themselves. Yun Chujio touched her chin. There were 16 people here, and none of them could be seen through by her. At the very least, they were at the 6th level of the Spirit Saint realm. How could she kill them all? Release poison? Something was wrong. The wind direction was not right, and the poisonous smoke could not blow into the cave. Release puppets? It was also not right. There were too many of them, and she did not have the confidence to win. What should she do? Yun Chujio raised her head and looked around. She found that the cliff was very steep, and it was very high. She rolled her eyes and had an idea. Scum, there will be a good show to watch. After more than an hour, the people in the cave left one person to guard while the others fell asleep. Yun Chujio took out the sticky silk and quietly climbed up the cliff. Go Weiba, your chance to redeem yourself is here. Hurry up and hook up with the demon beasts. I want to turn these scum into food for the demon beasts. Go Weiba had been in the wrong recently. He was eager to have a chance to please Yun Chujio, so he started to hook up with the demon beasts. In the cave, those people were sleeping soundly. The person in charge of guarding the cave suddenly shouted, "Wake up! Wake up! Why is the ground shaking? And listen, there seems to be a lot of demonic beasts roaring. Could it be a beast tide?" Chapter 1384. Savage scum. Those people turned their ears to listen. Sure enough, the roars of beasts came from far away and near. It seemed that they were really coming this way. Boss, what should we do? Should we run? Everyone was panicking. It doesn't make sense. Even if there is a beast tide, the demon beasts should be running towards the entrance of the Misty Valley. Why would they run here? Let's take a look again. Where should we run to? This place is covered in dense fog. We have no idea where is safe. The leader thought for a moment and said, everyone could only obey his order and stared at the outside of the cave with full vigilance. After a short while, the roars of the demon beasts that sounded like a tsunami were heard nearby. Countless demon beasts rushed over from the dense fog. The people of the Netherworld Palace were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. Those people didn't care about the order of the leader anymore. They rushed out of the cave and ran away. Unfortunately, demon beasts were everywhere except for the cliffs. Those people soon died in the mouths of the demon beasts. A few people had an idea and climbed up the cliff. After climbing for a short while, a big rock fell from above. These people were not prepared at all. They were hit by the rock and fell to the ground. The demon beasts below naturally would not let go of the food that was in their mouths. In a short while, the 16 people were all dead. None of them survived. Yun Chujio, who was on top of the cliff, quickly told the Guai Chao to stop seducing them. Otherwise, she would throw the rock at her own feet. The demon beasts realized that the smell that attracted them had suddenly disappeared. They were very unwilling to give up and looked around. However, Yun Chujio climbed very high and was covered by the fog. Therefore, the demon beasts could not find her even after searching for a long time. They had no choice but to disperse. Yun Chujio was very proud in her heart. What did she mean by being smart? What did she mean by defeating the strong with the weak? What did she mean by using her brain to win? It's me. It's me. It's still me. Do the people of the Netherworld Palace still want to capture or kill us all? I'll kill all of you first. I'll destroy them one by one. I'll kill them one by one. I'll make sure that none of you can return alive. After a while, Yun Chujio finally climbed down from the cliff. She could not stay in this cave anymore. The smell of blood was too strong here. There might even be demonic beasts coming over. It was better to move to another place. Yun Chujio stayed behind a big rock for the night. After eating breakfast, she continued to move forward. She had already made a plan. If she met anyone else, she would tell them about the attack from the Netherworld Palace. This way, everyone would have a precaution. Moreover, if there were more people, there would be some protection. However, perhaps because the Misty Valley was too big, Yun Chujio did not meet anyone else after walking for half a day. She also did not meet anyone from the Netherworld Palace. Yun Chujio simply continued to search for the earth-burrowing spiritual mushroom. This thing was related to whether she could skip a grade. If she could not find one and was eliminated, it would be embarrassing. However, the earth-burrowing spiritual mushroom grew in the soil and could not be found outside. How was she supposed to find it? This Huangfu old man was really wicked. He actually came up with such a stupid question. Just as Yun Chujio was worrying, Xiao He volunteered, "Master, let me help you find it." Yun Chujio's eyes immediately lit up. Yes, she could not find it, but Xiao He could. It would definitely find it if it went underground. Xiao He went underground and soon found an underground spiritual mushroom. Just as the underground spiritual mushroom was about to run away, it was put into the storage space by Xiao He. Chapter 1385 Mushroom Killer 2 hours later, Xiao Hei emerged from the ground. Then, Yun Chujio saw Xiao Hei start to dig out mushrooms from the storage space. 1 mushroom, 2 mushrooms, 5 mushrooms, 10 mushrooms. Yun Chujio's eyes turned into peach hearts. Damn, with Xiao Hei's mushroom killer, how could she be worried that she would not be able to find the earth-penetrating spiritual mushroom? Yun Chujio praised Xiao Hei. Xiao Hei was uncomfortable with its master's enthusiasm. Yun Chujio could not help but sigh. Although these 3 spiritual pets of hers were not particularly powerful, they all had their own unique abilities and were not bad. In the next few days, Yun Chujio brought Xiao Hei and began to sweep crazily. Wherever Xiao Hei went, the earth-penetrating spiritual mushroom would not be spared. Fortunately, Yun Chujio told it not to kill all of them. Xiao Duo's earth-penetrating spiritual mushroom should not be picked. Only then did it avoid the tragic fate of the earth-burrowing spiritual mushrooms becoming extinct. That afternoon, Yun Chujio found a small stream, so she washed her face and took out a few steamed buns to eat. At this moment, she heard footsteps. Yun Chujio found that she was surrounded by grass and had nowhere to hide, so she simply continued to sit there and eat the steamed buns. Not long after, 7 people walked over. Yun Chujio looked at them and found that their ages and spiritual powers were uneven, and their clothes were not uniform. They should not be from the Netherworld Hall, but rather, they seemed to be some wandering cultivators who had gathered temporarily. The 7 people sized up Yun Chujio. When they saw that Yun Chujio was wearing the uniform of the Tianyuan Academy, they knew that she was a student of the Tianyuan Academy. The 7 people exchanged glances and surrounded Yun Chujio in the middle. Little girl, if you know what's good for you, then hand over all the valuable things you have on you. As long as we don't kill you with money, if you don't know what's good for you, humph. Yun Chujio stood up calmly. As you can see, I'm a student of Tianyuan Academy. Aren't you afraid of getting revenge for robbing me? A few of them burst into laughter. One of them, a short and fat man, said, "Little girl, have you been reading too much? Getting revenge for us? Where are you going to find us after leaving this misty valley?" A triangular-eyed man added fiercely, "Cut the crap. Hurry up and hand over your valuables, or we'll kill you. Anyway, nobody will know about this in the Misty Valley." Yun Chujio looked at them with a smile. "I should be the one to say this. Hand over your valuables, or I will kill you." Those people were stunned and then burst into laughter. Is this little girl scared silly or talking in her sleep? She wants to rob us? What a joke. Brother Zhou, don't talk nonsense with her. She's only at the 5th level of the spirit sect. I can take care of her alone, San Jiaoyan said disdainfully. The other 6 people also thought that Yun Chujio was a weak chicken, so they stepped aside and signaled San Jiaoyan to make a move. San Jiaoyan attacked Yun Chujio with his spiritual power. His spiritual power materialized into a poisonous snake and pounced on Yun Chujio with its tongue sticking out. Yun Chujio slowly released a small pig of spiritual power. San Jiaoyan and the others saw this and immediately laughed. Ha! Her spiritual power materialized into a pig? And a small pig? There is such a useless student in Tianyuan Academy? Damn, this is too useless. Maybe she entered through the back door. Such a useless person still dares to come to the Misty Valley. He is really courting death. Chapter 1386 Anti-Robbery. The 7 of them laughed out loud in disdain. San Jiaoyan laughed the most, and then he stood there dumbfounded. Impossible. The 2 spiritual powers collided. Shouldn't both sides cancel each other out and the remaining spiritual power continue to attack? Why was only his poisonous snake dissipating, but the little piglet was becoming more and more solid? Could it be that the little piglet had eaten his poisonous snake? How was this possible? While San Jiaoyan was still in a daze, the little piglet had already finished devouring the poisonous snake and was pouncing towards him. San Jiaoyan hurriedly dodged to the side. He never expected that the spiritual energy little piglet would turn around and bite his shoulder. San Jiaoyan screamed in pain. He was also panicking. He actually used his hand to pull the spiritual power piglet. The spiritual power piglet bit off a part of his thumb. San Jiaoyan screamed even more miserably this time. He was almost not moving anymore. Fortunately, the spiritual power piglet's spiritual power was exhausted and dissipated. Otherwise, San Jiaoyan's right hand would have been crippled. The other 6 people could not help but take 2 steps back. This little girl's spiritual power materialization was too strange. Moreover, wasn't she at the 5th level of the spirit sect? How could she know a high-level materialization technique? Could it be that she was a spiritual venerable? San Jiaoyan swallowed a hemostatic pill and said to the others, "What are you all standing there for? This little girl is so strange. She must have a lot of treasures on her. Kill her, and those treasures will belong to us." The eyes of the other 6 people revealed a greedy light. Although they were somewhat afraid of Yun Chujia's true spiritual power, but when they thought that there were 7 of them, it didn't matter even if Yun Chujio was a spiritual venerable, so they swarmed forward. Yun Chujio curled her lips. "You all asked for this. It's a good time for me to exercise my muscles and bones." Yun Chujio didn't release her puppets because she felt that she could use these people to gain some actual combat experience, so she moved around and fought with the 7 people. The 7 people released their spiritual beasts and pounced towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio waved her hands and several spiritual pigs rushed towards the spiritual beasts. The 7 people were so scared that they almost cried out. How is this possible? Didn't they say that the high-level physical transformation technique could only use 1 spiritual beast at a time? How could she release so many little pigs? Could it be that she was using the middle-level physical transformation technique? But why were these little pigs so agile with the middle-level physical transformation technique? And they could even devour spirit energy. The 7 of them felt regret in their hearts at this moment. If they had known that this little girl was so perverted, they wouldn't have robbed her no matter what. She was a pervert. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. They could only grit their teeth and endure. Although this spirit energy little pig was perverse, its spirit energy would disappear once it dissipated. They didn't believe that. This little girl could continuously release the little piglet of spiritual power. Even if she was tired, it would exhaust her to death. An hour later, tears streamed down the 7 people's faces. They had no choice but to face a tragic fact. If they continued fighting, the little girl would probably tire themselves to death. They would tire themselves to death. One of the short and fat men said, "Brothers, let's retreat. We probably won't be able to take down this little girl today." The other 6 also had the intention to retreat, so they exchanged glances and wanted to run. Yun Chujio sneered, "Want to run? You're dreaming. You can run if you want to, but leave all your valuables with me." Chapter 1387. Do you want to make a fortune? When the 7 of them heard Yun Chujio's words, they couldn't help but sneer in their hearts. "You want to stay? If we want to run, can you stop us by yourself?" When the 7 of them thought of this, they ran in different directions. They thought that if this was the case, Yun Chujio would only be able to chase 1 person at most. Unexpectedly, Yun Chujio gave them a sly smile. Then she took out 5 strange-looking things from her spirit beast bag and rushed towards them. Then she released a red-furred fox. It seemed to be the red flame 2-tailed fox. The fox roared, and the 7 of them could not help but be slightly stunned. Then, they began the process of being beaten up. They were about to cry. What the hell was this thing? Puppets? Weren't puppets used to block? How could these damn things still track them? Spiritual attacks had no effect on this damn thing at all. At most, it would only leave a shallow scratch. However, the puppets were much more adept at beating them. Once the prongs on their arms pierced their bodies, they would have to give up their lives. The 7 people could not hold on any longer. They stretched their necks and shouted, little fairy, we admit defeat. We admit defeat. Quickly make them stop. I beg you." Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chase them over here." The 7 of them were so angry that they were twitching. What did she mean by chase? We are not pigs or sheep. However, the situation was better than the others. They had no choice but to obediently be chased by the 5 puppets in front of Yun Chujio. The short and fat man said fawningly, "Little fairy, we did not recognize Mount Tai. We were wrong. Please spare us." "Spare you? Hand over everything you have, and I can consider it. Otherwise, I will let my puppets bleed you one by one." At this point, even though the 7 of them were unwilling, they had no choice but to hand over all the valuable things they had to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio curled her lips. "It's not that I want to criticize you, but as robbers, you are really cowardly to be this poor. K, you are really trash." The 7 of them dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. They could only smile and say, "Yes, yes, we're trash. There's a chance to make a fortune in front of us. Do you guys want it?" Yun Chujio said with a smile. The 7 of them inexplicably felt that Yun Chujio's smile had bad intentions. They could only probe and ask, "Little fairy, what kind of chance is it to make a fortune? All of you are from the Tianyuan continent, right?" Yun Chujio asked without answering the question. The 7 of them were confused. Was the little girl crazy? "We are not from the Tianyuan continent. Where are we from?" However, they did not dare to refute and nodded obediently. "Have you heard of the Netherworld Hall?" Yun Chujio asked with a smile. "Is it the Netherworld Hall that almost conquered the Tianyuan continent 11 years ago?" Yun Chujio nodded. "That's right. They have already sent people into the Misty Valley. I killed a few of their people a few days ago. But according to them, they've sent quite a number of people into the Misty Valley this time. They're prepared to kill everyone from the Tianyuan continent who entered." When the 7 people heard this, they were instantly stunned. "What? The people from the Netherworld Palace want to kill us? They must have come prepared. Then wouldn't we be in great danger? Little fairy, then what does this have to do with us getting rich?" The short and fat man asked in confusion. 7 people's hearts beat drum. The little girl doesn't want us to protect her, right? Chapter 1388 would not do business at a loss. "Don't worry, didn't I ask you to protect me? I even think that you guys are a burden." Yun Chujio curled her lips and said. Although the 7 of them were furious, they had to admit that even the 7 of them could not beat a little girl. They were indeed useless. "I'll give you guys a task. You guys spread the news that the members of the Netherworld Palace have come in. This way, everyone will be on guard so that they won't be caught off guard by the members of the Netherworld Palace." The 7 of them had never expected Yun Chujio to make such a request. However, what did this have to do with getting rich? Yun Chujio smiled at them. "As long as you complete this task, I'll reward each of you with 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones. How about that? This is much more than what you've earned from robbing, right?" The 7 of them could not believe their ears. Was this little girl really sick? It would not benefit her if they passed the message to her. Why was she so generous? Yun Chujio could see the doubts of the 7 of them. She sighed and said, "Actually, I am the kindest person. How could I bear to see our compatriots being killed by the people of the Netherworld Palace? Therefore, I would rather pay my own money to deliver the message to them. Swear on your inner demons. After the matter is done, I will give you the spiritual stones." The 7 of them had no other choice but to swear on their inner demons, swearing that they would do their best to deliver the letter. Yun Chujio even took out the recording stone and recorded a message for them. This way, the credibility of meeting the students of Tianyuan Academy would be higher. Only then did Yun Chujio let the 7 of them leave. The 7 of them wanted to cry but had no tears. They were originally here to rob, but now, not only were they robbed, they even became errand boys. Fortunately, the little girl did not use them for nothing. Otherwise, they would really die of cowardice. After the 7 of them left, the little black bird asked Yun Chujio, "Master, even if you force them to deliver the letter, they still have to agree. Why did you agree to give them 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones? 7 people is 7 million? How can we just let the cow do the work and not feed the cow grass? With spirit stones, they will have more motivation. This way, the efficiency will be higher. As for spirit stones, when the wool is on the sheep, I will naturally let the people who were saved take it out. I only moved my mouth, why not?" Xiao Hanio, silent. Alright, it was really unnecessary to ask. Their black-hearted master would never do business at a loss. Yun Chujio rested for a moment and continued to walk forward. This fellow was very puzzled. Why didn't he meet anyone from the Netherworld Palace? Perhaps the 16 people she killed were in charge of this area? So the others did not come over? Just as Yun Chujio was cursing in her heart, 8 people came over. Although their clothes were no different from those freelance martial artists, Yun Chujio could immediately tell that these people were from the Netherworld Palace. This was because these people's spiritual powers were very high, and their movements were uniform. It was obvious that they were trained secret guards. Moreover, their eyes were filled with killing intent. Yun Chujio was a little puzzled. Logically speaking, shouldn't there be 16 people in their group? Why were there only 8 this time? However, it was good to have fewer people. It was just the right time to kill them all. When those people saw Yun Chujio, their eyes immediately lit up. Without any explanation, they surrounded Yun Chujio in the middle. Yun Chujio did not run either. Even if she ran, she would be caught. Moreover, after the battle with the 7 people just now, it had already proven the power of the 5 puppets. Killing these 8 people should not be a big problem. Chapter 1389. Are you Yun Chujio? The leader asked with a fierce look. Oh, am I so famous now? You all know me? I'm really embarrassed. Yun Chujio said shyly with her hand covering her mouth. The 8 people of the Netherworld Palace were dumbfounded and confused. This little lunatic was the Yun Chujio that Dharma Protector Tao mentioned? Wasn't she just a silly little girl? Moreover, her spiritual power level was only at the 5th level of the spirit sect. What kind of storm could she cause? Dharma Protector Tao must have not finished his words. There was no way that this little girl would ruin our plan. However, since they had already met, it was better to capture her. It was not bad to use her as a threat to the Longevity Palace. Stupid girl, to tell you the truth, we are from the Netherworld Palace. If you want to be sensible, quickly surrender. We don't want your life. Otherwise, you will suffer. People from the Netherworld Palace? Since you are from the Netherworld Palace, why aren't you staying in your Netherworld continent? Why did you come to our Heavenly Yuan gift? Are you all full of yourself? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and asked curiously. The people from the Netherworld Palace were so angry that they were twitching. This little girl's words were really too sarcastic. One of them with an aquiline nose said to the leader, "Leader Li, don't talk nonsense with her. I will just capture her." The leader nodded and the group expanded the encirclement. If that was the case, Yun Chujio would not be able to escape. Yun Chujio pouted. I want run. They'll catch all of you in one go. The hooked nose pouted and looked at Yun Chujio. I heard that the Tian Yuan Academy is the best academy in the Tian Yuan continent. Why did a trash like you enter? I don't think the Tian Yuan Academy is that good. You're right. I am the most trash in the Tian Yuan Academy. However, I think that even a trash like me can deal with you without a problem. Do you believe that I can kill you in less than 3 moves? Yun Chujio said with a smile. Ha! Aren't you afraid that the wind will blow your tongue? 3 moves? I can kill you in 3 moves. After the aquiline nose finished speaking, he attacked Yun Chujio with his spiritual power. The aquiline nose was at the 2nd level of the Supreme Being realm, and his spiritual beast was a vicious wolf. It pounced fiercely at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio unhurriedly released 1 spiritual power piglet, 2 spiritual power piglets, and 3 spiritual power piglets. Yun Chujio released 10 spiritual power piglets in one breath. 3 of them entangled the vicious wolf, while the other 7 pounced at the aquiline nose. The hawk-nosed man was shocked. How was this possible? How could the little girl release so many spiritual beasts? And they all seemed to have intelligence. Although he was only stunned for a moment, the 7 piglets of spiritual power had already lunged at him. The hawk-nosed man immediately screamed and had to take out a sword to hit the piglets of spiritual power on his body, trying to disperse them. At this moment, Yun Chujio shot out several small purple needles from her hand towards the eyes of the aquiline nose. The aquiline nose had no choice but to jump up and dodge. Just as the small purple needles flashed past, Yun Chujio released 10 more piglets of spiritual power. The aquiline nose was bitten until it cried out in pain. The leader of the Netherworld Palace shouted, "This stinky girl is a little strange. Let's attack together." "TSK, are you guys going to gang up on me? How shameless. Didn't you just call me trash? I see that you guys are even worse than trash like me. A bunch of shameless bastards. Stinky girl, don't talk so glib. When we catch you later, how are we going to deal with you?" The leader said fiercely. Do you think that only you guys know how to gang up? I know how to do that too. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kill them all for me. Chapter 1390. The Puppet Army of Yun Chujio. The people of the Netherworld Palace looked around but did not find anyone else. They thought that Yun Chujio was bluffing and sneered as they attacked Yun Chujio with their spiritual power. After Yun Chujio activated the defensive spiritual weapon on her body, she released 5 puppets. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go. Let's show them the power of our puppet army of Yun Chujio. The people of the Netherworld Palace were shocked when they saw the 5 puppets. However, they felt that Yun Chujio must have wanted these puppets to block their attack and then escape. She must be dreaming. How could 5 refined iron puppets stop them? It was simply a dream. However, they were horrified to find that the 5 puppets were not used to block but to attack. How was this possible? Weren't the refined iron puppets only used for defense? Moreover, if they were not careful, even their masters would be injured by accident. Why did these 5 puppets seem to have intelligence? Who exactly was this little girl? Why were her spiritual energy materialization and puppets so strange? The 5 puppets dealt with 5 people respectively, while Yun Chujio dealt with 3 people alone. She released several spiritual energy piglets to charge at the 3 people and summoned 8 immortal swords, aiming at the vital points of the 3 people. The shock in the hearts of the 3 people could not be described with words. How could one person control 8 spiritual swords at the same time? This smelly girl's spiritual sense was too abnormal. They finally believed that Dharma Protector Tao had sent back Yun Chujio's name. It was definitely not a misunderstanding. It seemed that the failure of the previous plan was directly related to this smelly girl. Although the 3 people were extremely shocked, they thought that it should be no problem for 3 to fight against 1, so they stepped up their attacks. They never expected that even if some of the spiritual power attacks were not swallowed by the spiritual power piglet, when they got close to Yun Chujio's body would flash and block the attacks outside. This stinky girl actually had a lot of defensive spiritual weapons on her. The 3 of them had a bad premonition in their hearts. It seemed that it was impossible to take down this stinky girl today. They had better retreat first. After finding their companions, they would deal with this stinky girl. Just as the 3 of them were about to escape, they heard a few miserable screams. With the corner of their eyes, they realized that 3 of their companions had already been killed by the refined iron puppets. Oh my God! Was the attack power of the refined iron puppets so powerful? Number 2, number 3, and number 5, I'll leave these 3 to you. Kill them all. Don't leave a single one alive. Yun Chujio ordered the puppets. The 3 iron puppets immediately pounced on the 3 of them, their hair tangled together. Yun Chujio, on the other hand, would occasionally launch sneak attacks with her piglets. Their cooperation was flawless and perfect. An hour later, the battle ended. Except for the leader who was left alive, the rest of the people were killed by the puppets. Yun Chujio took out a large kitchen knife and pressed it on the neck of the leader. Tell me, how many people did you sneak in this time? Just as the leader was about to take poison to commit suicide, Yun Chujio removed his chin and took out the poison from his teeth. Then, she used the large kitchen knife to cut the man's face. You want to play the trick of taking poison to commit suicide with me? You're underestimating me too much. I have many ways to torture you. If you don't want to suffer, tell me the truth. The man snorted. It's just some physical pain. Just go ahead and do it. Oh, I didn't expect you to have such a backbone. What a pity, what a pity. It's just that your brain isn't very good. Do you think I can't do anything if you don't tell me? Since you won't tell me, then I'll search your soul. Then you'll become a fool. Even if you reincarnate, you'll still be a fool. Do you really not regret it? Yun Chujio asked with a smile. Chapter 1391. Yun Chujio will definitely be able to save us. When the leader of the Netherworld Hall heard that Yun Chujio wanted to perform a soul search, the expression on his face became anxious. You don't have as much spiritual power as me. It's impossible for you to perform a soul search on me. Is that so? But I can command 8 immortal swords. Tell me, which one of us has the stronger spiritual sense? I only gave you one chance because I thought you were still a good man. Since you don't want it, then I'll perform a soul search. Yun Chujio acted as if she wanted to perform a soul search. The man was terrified. I'll tell you. This time, we sneaked in a total of 20 groups, 16 people in each group. Yun Chujio was shocked. 320 people? They really put in a lot of money. What are their cultivation levels? 70% are at the spiritual venerable realm, and the remaining 30% are at least at the 8th level of the spiritual saint realm. You arrange them by region, right? Yes. Where are the other 8 people in your group? They are searching on the east side. Seeing that there was nothing else to ask, Yun Chujio directly cut that person into pieces. Che, how stupid! If I knew the soul-searching technique, would I need to ask you? Idiot! The soul-searching technique can only be used by spiritual venerables. I don't know it at all. Yun Chujio put away the storage rings of the 8 people, then she had Xiao Hanyo burn the bodies of the 8 people before continuing to walk towards the east. After walking for an hour, Yun Chujio heard voices in the distance. She took off the hidden spirit ring and carefully moved forward. Yun Chujio hid behind a bush and looked ahead through the gaps in the bush. She saw that 8 people from the Netherworld Hall had trapped more than 10 students from Tianyuan Academy in the middle. There were traces of blood on the bodies of those people. It was obvious that they had fought for a while. Yun Chujio looked at them carefully. Those who were trapped were from the Shen class. Most of their spiritual power was around the 7th or 8th level of the spirit sect. It was no wonder that they were no match for the people from the Netherworld Palace. Tisk. They even said that the students from Tianyuan Academy were the elites of the Tianyuan continent. I think they were just average. However, these female students were quite pretty. As long as you female students surrender obediently, I can guarantee that you won't die. As for the rest, don't even think about leaving alive today. A bald-headed pervert said. Pooey. We would rather die than let you have your way. Shameless. A female student scolded. Yo, your temper is quite fierce. Let's see if you still refuse to admit defeat after a while. Brothers, kill all the men. Kill the women after you're done. The two sides once again engaged in a fierce battle. The students of Tianyuan Academy were forced to retreat one after another. It seemed that they could not hold on any longer. Just when they were in despair, they heard someone clearly say, "I-oh, the mad dogs of the Netherworld Palace are biting people again? Seriously, if you are willing to bite, then go back to your Netherworld continent. Why are you showing off in our Tianyuan continent? You really are uneducated mad dogs." Regardless of whether it was the people of the Netherworld Palace or the students of Tianyuan Academy, they all focused their gazes on the person who spoke. The people of Tianyuan Academy immediately cried out in surprise, "Yun Chujio! It's Yun Chujio!" They had never been so happy to see Yun Chujio like this. Although they also knew that Yun Chujio was only at the 5th level of the spirit sect, Yun Chujio was now their life-saving straw. Moreover, Yun Chujio had created miracles many times in the past. This time, she would definitely be able to do it. She would definitely be able to save them. The people from the Netherworld Palace clearly had a portrait of Yun Chujio, so they recognized Yun Chujio at a glance. When they heard the exclamations of the students, they were even more certain that the little girl in front of them was their number one target. Chapter 1392. Cute as a meal. Stupid girl, are you Yun Chujio? We were just about to look for you. Who would have thought that you would come to us of your own accord? You are quite good looking, you can play with me. The bald man looked at Yun Chujio lecherously. Yo, not only are you a mad dog, you are also a mad dog in heat. Your netherworld palace is really an eye-opener. Yun Chujio said with disdain. Damn girl, you're courting death. The baldy jumped over and stretched out his hand to grab Yun Chujio. He was planning to take advantage of Yun Chujio because he saw that Yun Chujio was only at the 5th level of the spirit sect, and he thought that he could capture Yun Chujio just by relying on his movement technique. Yun Chujio had put on the hidden spirit ring when she showed up just now, so everyone saw that her spiritual power level was at the 5th level of the spirit sect. Yun Chujio's eyes darkened. Comparing movement techniques with her? She was simply courting death. It was just the right time to use the shadowless feat of Little Gio that she had not used for a long time. The baldy thought that he would be able to catch Yun Chujio with this grab and then take advantage of her. He never expected that when his hand was about to grab Yun Chujio actually turned around and disappeared. Where is she? The baldy was a little stunned. He did not expect that Yun Chujio had already turned behind him and kicked him in the back. The baldy was kicked a few hundred feet away. Although he did not fall down with a single leap, he was still in a very sorry state. The students of Tianyuan Academy could not help but cheer. Yun Chujio, good kick. You kicked this bastard to death. Yes, kick him to death. The baldy flew into a rage out of humiliation. Damn girl, you're courting death. As the baldy spoke, he shot a spiritual energy attack at Yun Chujio. It turned out to be a vulture. After Yun Chujio dodged the vulture's attack, she turned her body to the side. She giggled happily. Emma, this spiritual beast of yours is really a good match for you. TSK, but I think this vulture is much better looking than you. A person like you is simply a disgrace to the baldy world. If I were you, I would have long found a piece of tofu and smashed it to death. You're wasting spiritual energy and resources while you're alive. You're simply letting everyone in the world down by living. The bald-headed man was so angry that he was about to turn ugly. Darn girl, keep showing off. I want to see how many moves you can dodge. The bald-headed man released another vulture. This time, not only was the vulture bigger than the previous one, but its eyes were also more agile. It seemed that this was a high-level spiritual beast. Yun Chujio smiled and started releasing the pig. Actually, this guy felt that every time he released the pig, it was torture to the enemy because it was really a slap to the face when it was defeated by the original target of ridicule. As expected, both the baldy and the people from the Netherworld Palace burst into laughter when they saw that Yun Chujio released a cute piglet. This is the first time I've seen someone's spiritual beast being a pig, and a piglet at that. TSK, this Yun Chujio is really trash. I wonder what those people are thinking. Do they think that trash like her can save them? I think, in less than 10 minutes, Chief Lu will be able to take her down. Less than 10 minutes? I don't think he can take her down in 10 moves. This Yun Chujio is really too trash. Even the students of Tianyuan Academy had a look of confusion and disappointment on their faces. Oh my god! Yun Chujio's intermediate spiritual beast was actually a little piglet? It's over. This was even worse than the purple needle of the elementary materialized spell. This little piggy was very cute, but could cuteness be used as food? Were you preparing to kill your enemy with cuteness? Chapter 1393. Kill each and every one of them at this moment. The spiritual energy piglet had already encountered the vulture. Everyone thought that the spiritual energy piglet would be consumed by the vulture soon. However, what they didn't expect was that the spiritual energy piglet jumped onto the vulture's back and took a bite at the vulture's head. The vulture kept struggling and wanted to throw the spiritual energy piglet down. However, the spiritual energy piglet seemed to be stuck to it. It buried its head in its food and ate happily. The students of Tianyuan Academy could not help but think of Yun Chujio's usual appearance when she was munching on spiritual fruits. What kind of spiritual beast did her master turn into? Just when everyone was shocked, Yun Chujio released another spiritual piglet. That spiritual piglet immediately joined the ranks of the vulture. The baldy could not believe his eyes. It could devour other spiritual beasts? How was this possible? Moreover, he could release two spiritual beasts with intelligence at the same time. While the Baldy was in a daze, Yun Chujio shot several small purple needles at him. It was too late for the Baldy to dodge, so he simply reached out and grabbed the small purple needles with his fingers. Then he sneered contemptuously. "You still want to hurt me with these broken needles? You're really self-destructive." Following a few explosive sounds, the bald man's right hand and arm were blown away, and he kept screaming miserably. At this time, Yun Chujio fired a few more purple needles. The bald man was only focused on screaming, so he did not notice that after the purple needles entered his head, the bald man died along with the explosive sounds. The people of the Netherworld Palace were stunned, and they did not have the time to save the bald man. They just watched as the bald man was blown to death. Baldy was the leader of these people. Once he died, those people would lose their backbone. One of them said, "Let's attack together and kill her." Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Come on, let's kill one of them. Let's kill two of them." "Stupid girl, don't be so smug. Chief Lu was just careless. We will kill you now to avenge him." 7 people trapped Yun Chujio in the middle. Seeing this, the students of Tianyuan Academy naturally couldn't just stand by and watch. They also joined the battle. Although they were weak, 5 or 6 of them could still hold on for a while, so they held off 3 of them. There were only 4 people left on Yun Chujio's side. This guy didn't use a puppet, so she decided to hold back. Maybe there would be competitions in the academy in the future. The puppet was her trump card, so she couldn't reveal it for the time being. Yun Chujio looked at the direction of the wind and then jumped forward. The 4 of them naturally followed closely behind. Did this brat want to run away? No way. Suddenly, Yun Chujio stopped and giggled at the 4 of them. "Do you want to die, or do you want me to help you die?" The 4 of them were so angry that they gritted their teeth and fired their spiritual beasts at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio still released her spiritual piglets, but this time, she did not release 2, but a group of cute piglets. The 4 people were dumbfounded. 2 high-level spiritual beasts were already abnormal enough, but the little brat actually released a group of them? This was too abnormal. The more abnormal ones were still behind. They heard Yun Chujio shout, "Look at the hidden weapons." The 4 people did not know what hidden weapons Yun Chujio was going to release. They only saw a few huge things smashing towards them, so they quickly used their weapons to block them. Then they were miserable. The chili powder inside the sack flew everywhere. The 4 of them were choked to the point that tears and tears flowed down their faces. Yun Chujio had already put on her self-made gas mask. Furthermore, she was standing in the upper wind, so she was not affected at all. Chapter 1394. End the battle quickly. Yun Chujio naturally wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity to attack. Several small purple needles shot towards the 4 of them. The 4 of them were choked by the chili and couldn't even open their eyes. They could only activate their defensive spirit tools to block the small purple needles outside. Yun Chujio released a few more spiritual energy piglets. Those spiritual energy piglets lay on the defensive barrier and began to gnaw on it. Very quickly, they broke through a layer of the defensive barrier. Yun Chujio's heart was filled with incomparable resentment. If only I could use talismans. I could just use a sack of exploding talismans to finish them off. Now, I can only rely on the piglets to gnaw on it. However, I have plenty of piglets. I don't believe that I can't gnaw through your spiritual barrier. Yun Chujio waved her hands non-stop. An endless stream of piglets with spiritual power began to gnaw on the defensive barrier. These people from the Netherworld Hall did not have as many defensive spiritual weapons as Yun Chujio. Very quickly, the defensive spiritual weapons were used up. They could only accept the battle with their eyes red and swollen. The 4 of them fought and retreated at the same time. It was obvious that they were planning to escape. Seeing that they were already quite far away from the battlefield, Yun Chujio simply released 5 puppets. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kill them all. Finish the battle as soon as possible. Leave no one alive. When the 4 of them saw the puppets that Yun Chujio released, they were completely dumbfounded. The smelly girl still had a refined iron puppet? However, She was 80% certain that she did not know that this puppet could only be used for defense. What an idiot! If this puppet were to be used for defense, it would only be a hindrance. It might even kill her. Unexpectedly, the 5 puppets charged straight at them. The sharp forks on their arms emitted a cold light, and their movements were extremely agile. Before the 4 of them died, they still did not understand how a puppet that was clearly used for defense could attack. Furthermore, it was quite intelligent. This was impossible, this was impossible. Yun Chujio hurriedly rushed back to the battlefield over there. Although the students of Tianyuan Academy were at a disadvantage, it was fortunate that there were many of them. As soon as Yun Chujio arrived, the situation immediately became clear. After an hour, the remaining 3 people were also killed by the crowd. Those students immediately collapsed onto the ground. This kind of danger was truly terrifying. Everyone calmed down and thanked Yun Chujio one after another. Yun Chujio, it's all thanks to you this time. Otherwise, we would have died. Yun Chujio, thank you. You are our savior. Yes, Yun Chujio, I used to say bad things about you behind your back. From now on, you are my savior. If anyone dares to slander you again, I will help you vent your anger. A girl said with a guilty expression. She had always spoken ill of Yun Chujio behind her back, especially after Lan Luochen came. Yun Chujio waved her hand carelessly. We are all classmates. It's only right for us to help each other. I have already killed a group of them. The Netherworld Hall has sent a total of them this time. Yun Chujio told them what she knew and then said, I have already sent 7 people to deliver a letter to everyone, but it's still a drop in the bucket. If you have nothing else to do, go and deliver the letter as well. Don't worry, I'll explain the situation to Deputy Dean Xiao. This year's mid-year grand competition is a special occasion, so students might not be eliminated. If you really want to be eliminated, I'll think of a way to protect you. Everyone saw that Yun Chujio had already said so much, and it was a matter of saving people, so they naturally wouldn't refuse. They agreed and left. Seeing that they had left, Yun Chujio continued to walk forward. This guy was counting on his fingers. Out of the 20 teams, I've already killed 2, and there are still 18 teams left. Scum, you all better pray that I don't run into them. Otherwise, if I run into any of them, I'll kill one of them. I wonder if Vice Palace Master Lu will be so angry that hell vomit blood after I've ruined the plan of the Netherworld Hall once again? Thinking about it, it was truly wonderful. Chapter 1395. Come and Catch Me. Yun Chujio was actually very worried about the safety of Feng Ming and the other 2. However, the Misty Valley was just too big, and it would be too difficult to find them. She hoped that they had not met anyone from the Netherworld Palace. Just as Yun Chujio was thinking about all sorts of things, she saw a group of people approaching her. Yun Chujio immediately ran away. Damn it, she could still deal with 8 of them, but it would be difficult for her to deal with 16 of them. She would have to run first. Those people had also seen Yun Chujio. Although they did not see Yun Chujio's appearance clearly, they saw that she was wearing the clothes of the Tianyuan Academy, so they naturally would not let her go. They quickly chased after her. Damn girl, stop right there. Otherwise, we won't be polite anymore. The people from the Netherworld Palace shouted loudly. Yun Chujio did not say anything. She just kept running. As she ran, she thought of an idea. This area was flat, and there were no cliffs. It was impossible to use the demonic beast's move. How could she kill them? If she were to fight them head-on, she would not be able to defeat them. She had to make them scatter. However, how could she make them scatter? Yun Chujio rolled her eyes, then she shouted, Are you mad dogs? Why are you chasing me for no reason? Let me tell you, I know that you are from the Netherworld Palace. Someone has just sent me a letter. They are now sending a letter to someone else. When that time comes, you will be waiting for your death. When the people from the Netherworld Palace heard this, they were shocked. Someone had already sent a letter? Not good. If the people from the Tianyuan continent were on guard, their plan would definitely fail. They might even be surrounded. They had to kill those people. Stupid girl, don't be alarmist. Where are the people who sent you the message? The people from the Netherworld Palace wanted to find out the whereabouts of those people. Che, do you think I'm stupid? I won't tell you that they went north. Yun Chujio realized that she had let the cat out of the bag. She quickly added, they went south. The people of the Netherworld Palace found it funny. This little girl was probably not very smart. She clearly let the cat out of the bag just now. It seemed that the messenger went north. Boss G, he'll bring some people to kill those people. Otherwise, if they really spread the news, we'll be in a passive position, a tall and thin man said to the leader. The leader nodded. You're right. You can bring 7 people. 8 of us are more than enough to deal with this little girl. Yun Chujio saw the tall and thin man take 7 people away. This guy was confident now. However, in order to be safe, he still continued to run forward. He had to let them walk farther to be sure. The distance between the two parties was getting closer and closer. The people of the Netherworld Palace started to fire their spiritual power at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio activated the defensive spiritual weapon on her body and kept running. After running for about an hour, Yun Chujio stopped running and said, Damn, I'm so tired. I can't run anymore. Come and catch me. When the people of the Netherworld Palace heard Yun Chujio's words, they looked pleased with themselves. When they looked at Yun Chujio's appearance, some people exclaimed, Boss G, she's Yun Chujio. She's the Yun Chujio that the higher-ups are looking for. When the leader saw this, he was instantly overjoyed. Capturing this stinky girl would be a great merit. Lu Yuan, go tie her up for me. This is our first merit. Yes. That person called Lu Yuan walked up to Yun Chujio in a carefree manner. Stinky girl, you're still tactful. You're right. Otherwise, you'll suffer. Ugh. Chapter 1396. The materialization of Lan Luchen's spiritual power. The person called Lu Yuan did not expect that just as he was about to imprison Yun Chujio's spiritual power, Yun Chujio suddenly shot out several small purple needles at him. The distance was too close, and Lu Yuan was not prepared at all. He was hit by the small purple needles. Following the explosion, Lu Yuan screamed in pain and fell to the ground, dying. The remaining 7 people were stunned at first, then they were furious, and they attacked Yun Chujio with their spiritual power. Yun Chujio waved her hands and started to release the pigs. History was always astonishingly similar. When those people saw the cute piglets, they also mocked and despised them. When they saw that the spiritual power piglets could devour their spiritual power, they were instantly dumbfounded. Yun Chujio then released the 5 refined iron puppets. You bunch of idiots, did you really think that someone would deliver the letter? This trick of mine is called luring the tiger away from the mountain. Wait until I kill all of you, then I'll deal with those 8 idiots. The 7 people of the Netherworld Palace only knew that they had been fooled at this time. However, it was too late to regret. The 5 refined iron puppets and Yun Chujio's group of little piggies had firmly controlled them. They could not run away even if they wanted to. An hour later, all 7 of them were dead. Yun Chujio still took away their storage rings, and then let Xiao Hanyo destroy the evidence. Xiao Hanyo had a miserable look on his face. Damn it, this little lord had actually fallen to the point where he could only do the job of destroying the evidence. He was so aggrieved. Yun Chujio quickly ran to the back, preparing to kill the remaining 8 people. Unexpectedly, after 2 hours, she only found a few pools of blood and traces of fighting. She did not find the other 8 people. It was really strange. Could it be that those 8 people were killed by someone? Or did they go somewhere else? Yun Chujio shook her head and continued to walk north. After Yun Chujio left, a person stood up from behind the bushes in the distance. He had long black hair and there was a hint of melancholy in his eyes. It was Lan Luochen. Lan Luochen looked at Yun Chujio's back with an inexplicable expression and then quietly followed her. As Yun Chujio walked, she felt that someone was following her. However, she did not find any traces even after checking a few times. Could it be that I was being paranoid? 2 days later, Yun Chujio encountered the people from the Netherworld Hall again. Yun Chujio repeated the same trick. Let me tell you, I know that you are from the Netherworld Hall. Someone has just sent me a letter. They are now sending a letter to someone else. When the time comes, you will all be waiting to die. Unexpectedly, this group of people was obviously more difficult to deal with than the previous group of people. The leader of the group sneered and said, "Smelly girl, are you trying to lure the tiger away from the mountain? Don't worry, if we catch you, we will naturally find the person who sent the letter. Let's go together and catch this smelly girl first." Yun Chujio had no choice but to release the refined iron puppet and the spiritual power piglet to fight with them. Although the refined iron puppet and the spirit power piglet were abnormal, there were simply too many opponents. Yun Chujio quickly fell into a predicament and could only rely on the defensive spirit tools on her body to support herself. Just when Yun Chujio was racking her brains to think of a way to escape, she did not expect Lan Luochen to appear. Lan Luochen did not say a word and attacked the people of the Netherworld Palace with his spirit power. Yun Chujio could not help but be greatly shocked. Lan Luchen's spirit power materialized into a qilin. It was awe-inspiring and very agile. It was obviously a high-level materialization technique. The people of the Netherworld Palace started to fight with terrified expressions. However, they were no match for Lan Luochen at all, not to mention that there was also Yun Chujio's 5 refined iron puppets. Chapter 1397. All the good men were left for Chi-Chi. In just a quarter of an hour, the people of the Netherworld Hall were completely annihilated. All of them were killed. Wow. Lan Luochen, so you're so awesome. You really hit it too well. Yun Chujio said in surprise. Lan Luochen revealed a faint smile. I didn't expect you to have such a powerful puppet. Well, your spiritual power materialization technique is also very strange. Yun Chujio scratched her head in embarrassment. Hee, it's just SOSO. Why did you suddenly appear? I was looking for earth-penetrating spiritual mushrooms nearby. I heard the sounds of fighting here and rushed over. Ah, so it's like that. Since you're so powerful, let's form a team. Well, kill all those people from the Netherworld Palace. HMH, you actually want to kill us all? Dream on. Lan Luochen nodded his head lightly. All right. With Lan Luchen's participation, Yun Chujio's confidence increased greatly. In the following period of time, the two of them worked well together. They easily destroyed 10 teams from the Netherworld Hall and saved some of the people who were captured. Yun Chujio also discovered that Lan Luchen's culinary skills were surprisingly good. A simple roast meat could produce a different taste. Yun Chujio was beaming with joy as she ate. Lan Luochen, you are really an all-round good man. When my good friend Chi-Chi comes, I will introduce you to her. The two of you are really a match made in heaven. This guy wanted to keep a good man for Yun Chi whenever he saw one. He completely ignored the question of whether Yun Chi would transmigrate over. When Lan Luochen heard Yun Chujio's words, a trace of hurt flashed in the depths of his eyes. He said with a teasing tone, "Oh? Am I really that good? Then what do you think of me?" Yun Chujio naturally replied, "I think you're very good, just like my brother." Lan Luochen smiled bitterly in his heart. "Brother? I don't want to be your brother. There's no rush. There are plenty of opportunities. I'll definitely let you find out that I'm more suitable for you than D-Biming." The two of them chatted for a while more. Yun Chujio sighed and said, "We've already killed 14 teams and 4 teams. I don't know where they are. I'm really worried about senior brother Feng Ming and the others. Cultivation is full of dangers. They have their own good fortune. You don't have to worry too much." Lan Luochen comforted her. The next day, the two continued to walk forward. Lan Luochen suddenly made a hand gesture to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio understood and the two of them found a bush to hide in. "Dharma Protector Lin, do you really think that something happened to the other teams?" Although there is no definite news, since the news of our infiltration has already been leaked and we haven't met anyone after walking for so many days, there is a high chance that something has happened. Dharma Protector Lin sighed. There are 16 people in each team, and their spiritual power is not low either. How could something have happened? He really could not figure it out. However, Dharma Protector Lin, you are wise. With our 4 groups gathered together, we are not afraid even if we encounter people from the Tianyuan continent. Furthermore, we have captured so many hostages. When Yun Chujio heard that there were hostages, she looked behind them. Indeed, there were dozens of people tied up by ropes. They were sitting on the ground with blood stains all over their bodies. Yun Chujio saw Feng Ming and the other two at a glance. Her heart was mixed with joy and worry. It was great that Feng Ming and the other two were not dead, but there were 64 of them. She and Lan Luochen could not deal with them at all. How could she save them safely? Chapter 1398 ran really fast. Yun Chujio could not think of a good idea at the moment, so she could only wait and see. Dharma Protector Lin, what should we do next? Because the situation is unclear, we will stay here for the time being. In 7 days, the Misty Valley will close. At that time, we will be ejected out, and we will naturally be able to escape, Dharma Protector Lin said in a deep voice. What about these hostages? Dharma Protector Lin looked at Feng Ming and the others with disdain. The value of these people is really limited. Kill them before we go out to avoid being a burden. After a while, those people began to eat their lunch. Yun Chujio gave Lan Luochen a look, and the two of them left carefully. What should we do? The two of us can't defeat those people at all. Yun Chujio said with a frown. Lan Luochen's expression was also very grave. With the two of you's abilities, it is indeed impossible to save them unless we can contact other people. However, we are unable to use the sound transmission talisman in this Misty Valley, and the area here is very large. It is really very difficult to contact them. The two of them discussed for a long while but did not come up with any good ideas. They could only carefully hide their tracks and check on the situation of the people of the Netherworld Palace from time to time, hoping to find a suitable opportunity to strike. As time passed, Yun Chujio could not sit still anymore. Lan Luochen, the longer we drag this out, the more disadvantageous it will be for us. Let's do it this way. I am their #1 target, so I will go and attract their attention. Once I run away, they will definitely chase after me. If there are fewer people chasing after me, you will kill them together with me. If there are more people chasing after me, you will kill the rest of them. Save Feng Ming and the others, and then go and save me. Lan Luochen felt that this was too risky, but Yun Chujio had already made up her mind. Seeing that his persuasion was ineffective, he could only agree to Yun Chujio's plan. Yun Chujio deliberately took a detour, then hopped towards the direction of the people from the Hall of the Dead. The people from the Hall of the Dead soon discovered Yun Chujio, and someone exclaimed, Dharma Protector Lin. Yun Chujio. It's actually that damned girl, Yun Chujio. I didn't expect her to come to us of her own accord. What a great fortune. A hint of joy flashed across Dharma Protector Lin's eyes. He had thought that he was going to return empty-handed this time. He didn't expect that Yun Chujio, that big fish, would actually take the initiative to bump into the net. The heavens were really helping him. Feng Ming and the others who were caught felt their hearts sink. Wasn't Junior's sister Little Gio sending herself to her death? You should run. No matter how powerful you were, you wouldn't be able to defeat so many people. Moreover, their spiritual power was much higher than yours. They had no hope of being rescued. After all, no matter how heaven-defying Yun Chujio was, it was impossible for her to defeat so many people from the Netherworld Palace. Dharma Protector Lin waved his hand, and a group of people jumped towards Yun Chujio, wanting to catch her. At this moment, Yun Chujio seemed to have suddenly come to her senses and cried out in alarm, help! Quick help! These bastards want to kill me! Yun Chujio screamed as she ran, and the people from the Netherworld Palace chased after her relentlessly. Yun Chujio turned her head and glanced at them. It seemed that the Netherworld Palace really wanted to capture her. More than half of them had come to capture her. Since there were many people who came to capture her, Lan Luochen could take the opportunity to rescue Feng Ming and the others. She had to lure these people further away. Therefore, Yun Chujio used all her strength and ran forward like a wind and fire wheel. The people of the Netherworld Palace were so angry that they gritted their teeth. Yun Chujio, this wretched girl, was clearly only at the 5th level of the spirit sect. How could she run so fast? Chapter 1399. Stalling for time after running out for nearly 2 hours, the people of the Netherworld Palace finally caught up and surrounded Yun Chujio. The leader was none other than Dharma Protector Lin. It was not easy for the big fish, Yun Chujio, to bump into him, so he was naturally worried, so he personally brought people to chase after her. Although he felt that he alone was enough to deal with such a little girl, he still brought more than 40 people to be safe. As for the captives, their spiritual power had already been restrained, so they were not worried that they would run away. Moreover, it did not matter even if they ran away. The most important thing was to capture Yun Chujio. Little girl, you are quite good at running, but now you have no chance of escaping. Be obedient and surrender. Otherwise, if we don't make a serious move, you will suffer. Dharma Protector Lin felt that Yun Chujio was already in their hands. He looked very proud. I am puzzled. I didn't provoke the Netherworld Hall. Why do you have to capture me? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said angrily, you are the one that the higher-ups want to capture. As for the reason, when you return with us, you will naturally know. Cut the crap and surrender obediently. Yun Chujio sighed helplessly. Alright, since you have the advantage in numbers, I can't beat you. Come, tie me up and bring me back for the reward. Dharma Protector Lin pointed at the two of them. You too, restrain her spiritual power and tie her up with a rope. The two people who had been assigned immediately took out the rope and walked forward, wanting to tie Yun Chujio up. At this moment, Yun Chujio waved her hands repeatedly, and several small purple needles flew straight towards their eyes. The two of them reacted rather quickly. They dodged more than half of the small purple needles, but there were still a few small purple needles that pierced into their faces. Along with the sound of explosions, the two of them screamed repeatedly, although they did not die on the spot. However, their faces were also badly mutilated from the explosions. Taking advantage of the time when everyone was still in a daze, Yun Chujio waved her hands repeatedly and the small purple needles continuously shot towards the people of the Netherworld Palace. However, those people were already mentally prepared, so they dodged Yun Chujio's small purple needles one after another. Dharma Protector Lin flew into a rage out of humiliation. Stinky girl, if you refuse a toast, you'll have to drink the forfeit. Go. Take her down and leave her alive. Yun Chujio shouted, wait, is that all your Netherworld Palace has? Do you still want to gang up on a little girl at the 5th level of the Spirit Sect? Do you dare to fight me one-on-one? Yun Chujio did this naturally to stall for time. Once Lan Luochen succeeded, when the reinforcements arrived, she would be saved. A bearded man said to Dharma Protector Lin, Dharma Protector Lin, I'll take care of her. I can deal with a little girl at the 5th level of the Spirit Sect alone. Zhu Qi and Zhang Yao were just careless, so they were tricked by her. Dharma Protector Lin also felt that his two subordinates were careless, so he said to the bearded man, Lu Zhuang, I'll leave this stinky girl to you. Don't accidentally kill her. Lu Zhuang, who was also the bearded man, looked at Yun Chujio with disdain. Stinky girl, didn't you want to fight one-on-one? I'll accompany you for a few moves and let you see the power of the Netherworld Palace. Pooey, you look like a bear, you don't know how to speak. What power do you have? I will kill you. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Lu Zhuang was so angry that his face turned red. He attacked Yun Chujio with his spiritual power, not to mention that Lu Zhuang's spiritual beast was actually a bear. I told you. You look like a bear, so spiritual beasts are also bears, ha! Yun Chujio said as she dodged. She did not release the spiritual pig, but used the small purple needle to fight. She did this naturally to delay for a while more. Chapter 1400 was indeed strange. Lu Zhuang was so angry that he repeatedly used his spiritual bear to attack Yun Chujio. However, Yun Chujio was slippery. After a full quarter of an hour, Lu Zhuang did not even hurt a single hair on Yun Chujio's head. However, Yun Chujio's mouth was not idle. She continued to provoke Lu Zhuang. I told you. You big stupid bear, you are so stupid that even your spiritual beast is incomparably stupid. How dare a fool like you lecture me? Pooey, you are really trash. I think you're probably the dumbest among all of us. Since you know you're useless, don't come out and show off. Why didn't anyone say that they wanted to have a one-on-one fight with me, but only you came out to have fun? Do you think that you're the only one who stopped? Tithi, if you ask me, everyone is stronger than you. Even the two people who went up just now are 100 times stronger than you. You're useless. Lu Zhuang's temper had always been hot-tempered. After being provoked by Yun Chujio, he was so angry that his face turned red and his neck was thick. He simply put away his spiritual beast and took out a large knife and slashed at Yun Chujio. Yo, you still want to play with knives with us? I am the ancestor of knives. Look at my large kitchen knife. Yun Chujio took out the large kitchen knife and waved it a few times in a pretentious manner. In fact, she continuously dodged and continued to stall for time. Dharma Protector Lin did not pay much attention to it at the beginning. Suddenly he had a thought. Not good. This stupid girl could not have used a trick to lure them away, right? She could not have appeared in front of them for no reason. Moreover, she was clearly stalling for time. There must be accomplices rescuing the hostages. Once the hostages were rescued, they would come to reinforce them. Damn it! Dharma Protector Lin thought of this and roared angrily, "This darn girl is stalling for time. Everyone attack together. Let's end this quickly." Yun Chujio secretly cursed in her heart. Damn it, she had actually been seen through. It had only been a short while, and it was impossible for Lan Luochen to succeed. Moreover, the other party still had 20 people left, so she had to save herself. Hence, Yun Chujio no longer hid her strength and released the 5 puppets. The 5 puppets protected Yun Chujio in the middle, and Yun Chujio began to release her spirit energy piglets towards the people of the Netherworld Palace. The people of the Netherworld Palace were shocked. What the hell were these things? Wasn't that smelly girl at the 5th level of the spirit sect? How could she release so many spirit energy piglets? And how could those damn piglets devour their spirit energy? Also, these refined iron puppets were too abnormal. Didn't they say that refined iron puppets could only be used for defense? Why were these puppets able to attack and even know how to protect their master? Dharma Protector Lin thought to himself, no wonder the higher-ups specifically asked for this stinky girl. This stinky girl was indeed strange. Disregarding everything else, just these refined iron puppets were a great killing tool. If they knew the manufacturing method and mass-produced them, wouldn't it be easy to capture the Tianyuan continent? Therefore, they had to capture this stinky girl alive. Although Yun Chujio had refined iron puppets and her spiritual energy was also abnormal, the difference in strength between the two sides was too great. In just 15 minutes, the refined iron puppets were already unable to block the attacks of the people of the Netherworld Hall. Yun Chujio summoned 8 immortal swords to hold on for a while, but it was still useless. Yun Chujio felt that in less than 15 minutes, she could only surrender. There was still no news from Lan Luochen. It seemed that she could not be counted on. Could she only be a captive? Yun Chujio gritted her teeth and rushed out first. Therefore, Yun Chujio activated the defensive spirit tool on her body and then gave an order to the puppet. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.